What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of That Sports Dude. As always, you know I'm your host, Chris Dunlap, and first and foremost, I just want to thank you for joining me right here on TSDN as we begin our DCIAA Football Training Camp Tour. First and foremost, thank God the DCIAA Athletics are back. Man, that just feels absolutely great to say. And coming off a year like no other, I decided that we would do and preview the season like no other. And that spurred the idea of doing this DCIAA Training Camp Tour. And with that said, what better place to start than home of Turkey Bowl 50 DCIAA champions, the Dunbar Crimson Tide. Now, coming into this year, the Dunbar Crimson Tide are still the champions. Let's get that straight up front, first and foremost. Yes, we didn't have a season last year, but until somebody knocks them off, these are still the DCIAA Stars Division champions, the Dunbar Crimson Tide. Now, the question across the city, especially after they graduated last year, what would have been the number one, in my opinion, the number one recruiting class in DCIAA football, after they graduated names like Amonte Dreyer, who I just saw up here practice, Jamari Armstrong and others. Definitely, the question is, will Dunbar still dominate and will they repeat as Turkey Bowl champions? Now, I have some thoughts about that and I'm gonna share them with you guys right now. So I think one thing that's going to help Dunbar, one thing I think is gonna work in Dunbar's favor, is that everybody is kinda in the same boat. Now, nobody had a season last year. We didn't have practice, no training camp, no nothing. So everybody's in the same boat. We're all kind of getting reacclimated to practice, to camp, and then games will start soon, about a week away. So everybody's kind of in the same boat. Everybody's kind of still getting their feet wet, getting reacclimated to being back on the field. So I think that's going to play into Dunbar's favor. As though they may come in, have graduated in that would have been a dominant senior class, they still have a really good core, because behind that senior class is another great class that was recruited just after that 2021 graduating class. So they still come in with a really good core and a really good core of players and guys who can really make an impact. Now, I think challenges that they may run into, and this is a big if they try to recreate that high-octane 2019 passing game, that may spell trouble for them. Of course, especially you got a high-powered passing game, which they had in 2019, timing is a big aspect of that. So a missed season means missed opportunities to develop timing and for the offense to gel, especially as they come into the season with a junior QB and a bit of a younger offense, not as veteran savvy as what last year's offense would have been. Especially as they come into this year with a junior under center who did not have an opportunity to play his sophomore year because of the missed season. That may spell trouble for them. So I think Dunbar will adopt a run-first offensive philosophy and they'll rely heavy on their defense. Now, though they had that high-powered offense, their defense in 2019 was no slack whatsoever. 2019, they held H.D. Woodson to 12 points in the Turkey Bowl. And then about 10 days before that, in the DCIAA Stars Division playoffs, they put a donut on Roosevelt. And then the week before, though they lost, they held H.D. Woodson to only 6 points in their fourth overtime thriller that they had right up here at Dunbar. So their defense, by all means, can definitely carry this team, and especially with a couple of the names that I'm getting ready to mention now in the run game, definitely are going to be pieces that I think will create definitely a Turkey Bowl caliber and Turkey Bowl contending team. Now, the first name I want to mention, no stranger to any of you guys who've been following TSDN or follow DCIAA football, Jaleel Smith. This kid, as a freshman, showed signs of being a dominant premier back. And as we come into what will be his senior year, I definitely expect to see Jaleel Smith, aka Bear, get a lot of carries going into throughout this season. I believe he has 1,000-yard back potential, but I think he'll split time with another guy who in 2019 as a sophomore really put up some pretty good numbers and really made an impact. Daquan Harvin is another gentleman who is that other back who I'm speaking of, who I think will make a really, really big impact here in DCIAA football for the Dunbar Crimson Tide. Last year, in 2019, he put up some absolutely gaudy numbers on both sides of the ball. Defensively, he made a lot of great plays, 4 interceptions, and if you guys go check out some highlights of him on Huddle, when I say this guy was all over the field, every snap of the ball, oh my gosh, just a nose for the football, always around it, in the right position for an interception, making an open field tackle, getting a sack on the blitz, always, always, always in the right position. And then on offense, he scored 2 touchdowns in the Turkey Bowl, so that shows you guys the type of player that Daquan Harvin can be when given the opportunity to get the football in his hands and when put in the right position on defense to make some things happen. Then back to Jaleel Smith. I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but in 2018 as a freshman, he made a splash and went viral, ran 2 guys over in their first game against McKinley Tech. So I definitely expect Jaleel Smith and Daquan Harvin to be the heart and soul of this offense for Dunbar, as I think they'll adopt a run-heavy offense. They'll still take their shots. Of course, they still got a pretty good receiving core. They bring back Elijah Starkey, who I love as a big body receiver, strong hands. I think will really, really give that junior quarterback a really good safety blanket across the middle in the intermediate routes. And of course, if you need a big jump ball, what better place to go than your big body receiver in Elijah Starkey. So I definitely expect to see him catch a lot of balls and catch a lot of touchdowns this season. But like I said, I think Jaleel Smith and Daquan Harvin will be the go-to offensively, and I definitely expect them to make impact defensively, as Bear was a good plug-in at linebacker and Daquan Harvin was a really big impact player defensively for the Crimson Tide. So like I said, though we didn't have a season last year, though they graduated what I think would have been the top recruiting class in DCIAA football last year, this is still a championship caliber team. Don't fool yourselves and thinking just because they don't have the Amonte Dreyers, the Jamari Armstrongs, and others, don't think that this is not a championship caliber team. This is a championship caliber program, as the history has shown, and I think they're gonna be that once again, a championship caliber team. Will they win? Only time will tell. They were my pick last year, but this year, you guys will have to tune in on the 21st to see my to see the prediction live show and find out who I think is gonna win Turkey Bowl 51. But before all that, after this break, I'm gonna catch up with Coach Bink and 4-year starter Mike Brown to find out what the 4-1-1 is on the Dunbar Crimson Tide. So make sure you guys keep it locked right here to TSDN. You're watching our DCIAA Football Training Camp Tour. Welcome back, y'all. I'm still here at Dunbar for stop number 1 of our DCIAA Football Training Camp Tour. Joining me right now are Dunbar Crimson Tide head coach Maurice Vaughn and 4-year starter Mike Brown. Gentlemen, appreciate y'all for joining me. How y'all feel?
Good. Feel good. Awesome.
Man, first and foremost, I gotta ask you guys, how does it feel to be back out here again, man? After about 18 or so months of no football, how does it feel to be back?
It feels very exciting because we ain't been playing that much. Yeah. We ain't had no season last year, so it kind of hurt a lot of our guys that was in that 2021 class. So it's all right. We gonna bounce back.
What about you, Ben?
It feel awesome, man. You know, just to be back out here with the guys, man. You know, like I missed it so much. You know, I got a lot of time to be around my family and stuff like that. That was great. But you know, like this my family as well. And we have a lot of kids, man, that missed out on that 21 season, like Mike said. And you know, like it meant a lot to me, you know, with building this program. It was that first class that we recruited in here. So to lose and for them to lose their senior year was heartbreaking. But guys like Mikey gonna make it up for this year.
Absolutely. And man, to that point, being back on the field, of course, like we just talked about, after not having a season last year, not even practice. I'm sure there has been, a bit of an adjustment period for yourself, your coaches, as well as your players. So what have you done to kind of help your team smoothly transition back into practice and getting ready for the season?
Try to make it fun for them as well as, work. I think the older kids know that the work that it takes to get back to the Turkey Bowl, and like how hard it is to even get there. So we want to make a fun environment, fun learning environment, and that's what we've been doing. We've been having little events. We do little stuff with the kids, little fun stuff, and Mike Brown as well as some of the other seniors. They're really stepping up, man. They're really stepping up.
Now, Mike, coming to you, man. Coming into this season, especially as Coach Bink said, a 4-year starter and a senior leader now. What are you doing to not only prepare yourself, but also help your teammates prepare? Coach Bink mentioned a few things that you guys are doing, but what are you doing personally as a player to help you guys prepare?
I'm making sure everybody focused and staying on top. I'm making sure they going in that summer biz program with Dunbar so all the little freshmen can get acquainted with the staff in there. We don't want no problems with the staff. We want everybody to play, so I made sure they did that. Got group chats and stuff, positions, you know. So
I love that, man. I love that. So I'll ask you the same question I asked Coach Bink. What's the transition been like as a player between, for you and your teammates after not having a season? What has that been like?
It's been kind of hard, but we've been maintaining and keeping it together. Like the 707 season really helped us come together as a team, as one. So it's going to be a fun season this year.
For sure. So, and as we look forward into the season, Mike, I want to stay here with you. Now, we just talked about it. What I believe would have been the top graduating class in DCIAA last year. The feeling around the city is that now that those guys are gone, Dunbar might not be the Dunbar that we saw in 2019. What is your answer to that question? And more importantly, what will we see out of Dunbar this season? Tell us.
A lot of fast, physical, effortless football. That's all I got to say. We ain't going to do too much talking this year. We're just going to show them. Silence the critics. We always been the underdogs, man. We ain't new to this.
That's the best way to do it. How about you, Coach, man? What should we see out of your team this season, and what are some names that might stick out that we won't expect?
Of course, Mike Brown Jr., Daquan Harvin, Jaleel Smith, Marquez Minor.
Turkey Bowl MVP.
Yep. Ronald Brown Jr., started at the other corner. Anthony Patrick, kid that, flew under the radar, but he played defensive end and a cold dog. We got more than people think. We got more than people think coming back. And then we got, our recruiting class in 19 that's going to be sophomore this year. Hands down the best in the city. Hands down the best class, best sophomore class in the city. And one of the names I want you to mention is the other Mike Brown.
Okay.
So we got Mike Brown Jr. and we got Mike Brown. And I mean, by week 2, you're going to hear, people talking about it.
Kid can ball, man.
No doubt.
Can't lie.
No doubt. Well, I'll be up here for that Tech game, so I can't wait to see that. So, Bink, and as we move forward into the season, is this still a championship caliber team? What will we see in total?
Well, one thing about it, you hear our kids always talking about, we're going to be fast and physical. And the second, attribute is just as important as the first. We want to be physical. And, you're going to see a lot of toughness. Tied to us means toughness, intensity, discipline, and effort.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So that's what it means to us. And, you're going to see that, toughness, intensity, discipline, and effort. That's what you should expect out of any Tide team, especially this year.
I love that. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for joining me. I really do. As always love coming up to Dunbar and seeing what you guys got. And coming into this year, especially after not having a season last year, I know y'all are hungry to get going. So, man, I can't wait to see y'all on the field.
Thanks for coming through, man.
Thanks for coming.
Well, there you have it. Stop number 1 of our DCIAA training camp tour. Make sure you guys subscribe right here to TSDN and hit the bell too so you don't miss any updates as we continue this DCIAA football training camp tour. On behalf of Coach Bink and Mike, appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm your host, Chris Dunlap.